and welcome to Comic Book Wars, the comicbookspeculation.com podcast. This is episode 26, apparently. I know it feels like longer, it feels like it's been going on forever, but it's only been going on for 26 episodes. I'm Jimmy Linguini, and I don't know. That's all I had to say. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hey, happy Tuesday there, Sleepy John. We got a great show lined up for you, and we got the special podcast show that we've been working on. Should be coming out soon.
This is Nico, your weekend update correspondent with comicbookspeculation.com. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I think we're doing. I think we should have like the video set up for Friday. We can prepare it for Friday. Either that, or I'll have it set up for tomorrow. But I don't know yet. I'll let you know tomorrow when I see what I figure out. Because I don't know. I showed you guys the video. You thought it was okay, except for the intro and outro music. I don't have to change anything else.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Okay, so we'll
Nico
see when
Nico
it comes
said
out.
maybe invest in a manscaper, but that was only.
Jesus,
Lord
have mercy. What the fuck are you two talking about?
Different video, my fault.
That's a good way to start a podcast. Today's been a very busy day, I feel, with comic books and comic speculation. So we should just jump right into it. Today was a day I set in my calendar because I knew there was a bunch of stuff that we were going to find out. Because Warner Brothers and AT&T were announcing their lineup for HBO Max, their streaming service. So they had a 2-hour conference today, and it was pretty extensive of everything they're doing. I don't really understand why they're going to have an Ellen cartoon. That doesn't really make sense to me. I would you have to think that through, right? Like, there's going to be a cartoon about Ellen and how she grew up in her early life, but nobody ever plays that Louis Armstrong cartoon, right? Or Louis Anderson. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, people love that. That's a cult classic.
But there were a lot of Warner Brothers owns DC, so there were a few projects DC related, and I think that the DC streaming service might be finito. But there have been announcements that way. But
there's been some rumors that everything's going to move over here, or I think they were saying it would move over here. So what do they have left on there? Just Titans and was Doom Patrol still going?
Well, today they said that the season 2 of Doom Patrol was coming to HBO.
Oh, really?
Their streaming service, yeah.
So all they have left on there then is Titans, I think, because Swamp Thing they didn't even finish.
And Titans is amazing, so I guess that's probably going to be coming over to HBO as well at some point.
What about Stars and Stripes or whatever the fuck?
I'm not sure where that's at.
What's that?
Star and Stripe. Stars and Stripe. It's that woman superhero that has the robot guy with her.
It's like it should have been Starman, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that landed at. Honestly, I think they're still working on it, but I don't know.
Had a hell of a cast.
Yeah.
But
there's a Harley Quinn cartoon too.
They did announce these 2 brand new projects, DC related.
We're 2 for 2 on that.
Both of them have been rumored for some time, and we did talk about them a little bit. So we'll just do a quick rebrief. The 2 that they've announced are DC's Strange Adventures and some kind of Green Lantern TV show.
Yeah. So Green Lantern, huh? I think when we talked about that before, it was more in the vein of humor, because it was surfaced on some websites that have yet to really get anything reported correctly.
Well, I thought it came from Lords of the Long Box, that podcast. Isn't that where it started? And that's why we were all making a joke about it, because it was like, how would these guys know anything?
Yeah, it was either there or one of those other.
We got this covered, had it,
each other.
But it started making it to some legitimate news sites thereafter. If you remember, in one of the weekend updates, I suggested picking up the first appearance of Sinestro because, while it makes good sense to do a Green Lantern Corps on HBO Max, who knows what iteration of Green Lantern? I think really the Kyle Rayner iteration is what some of the other websites had suggested was going to happen precisely. And I think, pardon me, I think, yeah, I'm still sick from Baltimore, for the record. I think that's where, at least my skepticism started to sink in because, like, while I think the rumors around the Green Lantern HBO Max series were, pretty significant and substantial, nobody seemed to be able to kind of like pinpoint the direction of the show or to what extent it was going to incorporate some or all of the different ring bearers.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to check Van Cyver's Twitter, and I forgot. See if he mentioned anything about it. When the first rumors started to surface, he was all excited about it, but he had not heard anything from DC about it. It just seemed odd the way everything originally fleshed out. I checked with my sources. I'm hearing it's about Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz. And when I say my sources, I mean I just picked a couple people that are more relevant to current day.
You mean you picked a bunch of people who you had a bunch of first appearances of?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
everybody has.
I mean, that would be the.
Who doesn't have these Kyle Rayner books? I mean, these have been in $2 bins for 20 years.
Yeah.
Bring out the showcase.
These are the books that have been rumored though recently. I mean, at least with this character, this is the character that people have been kind of pushing. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but this is what people are saying will happen. I mean, I didn't think a Green Lantern thing was going to be announced, and it was. So, yeah, Kyle Rayner's first appearance was Green Lantern 48, Volume 3 of Green Lantern, and then he became Green Lantern in issue 50. So,
50 has a DCU variant.
So, yeah. I don't know. Would it be better as Simon Baz? Probably. But who cares? I mean, it would be better for me because I think I have like a whack load of those first appearances.
Yeah. The stuff that was announced for DC today, again, I just felt like, especially when, Jimmy, you mentioned that Berlanti is still doing all of this stuff. Greg Berlanti's who did all the CW shows, which have had popularity, I would say, in terms of CW shows. But, so we're talking about the Flash and Arrow and, what?
They've had popularity
as far as the CW show.
As far as CW shows.
Yeah.
But
this is HBO
It's
now.
a mouthful. You
like,
said it
bring
out
the good stuff. And
he was also involved in the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern film, no?
Yeah, he was the executive producer on that too. Like,
didn't he do Charlie's Angels?
We're going
Which one? The old one or the new one? Because the new one looks terrible, and it's written by I only bring this up because it's written by Elizabeth Banks, and Elizabeth Banks is supposed to be bringing forward a new DC show called DC.
It's called
Super High or something, right?
Yeah.
No.
Super High School.
Yeah, and that's the cartoon, except it's going to be live action instead of as cartoon. I mean, I didn't see any like significant first appearance comic books. I mean, there's some graphic novels, but I don't really think it's going to do anything. But who knows?
So, they're bringing Green Lantern. To me, it's a yawner. I've never been a Green Lantern fan. I guess there's people out there that are. Well, I know there are.
Well, are you guys watching Lindelof's Watchmen?
Have not seen any of it.
Yeah, I have. I don't think it is, honestly.
You don't like it?
I'm not really liking it that much.
I've enjoyed it.
I'd give it like a 6 out of 10, probably.
It's very much a
not because of the subject matter, just because like I don't understand like what's going on, and it's just boring. It has like some cool scenes, but they just don't seem very congruent. But I mean, I don't know. I'm still watching it, and we'll see where it goes. But I'm not a big fan. And I know that views have gone down recently, and some people are saying, "Oh, it's the subject matter is so bad that people aren't watching it." But it's like I'm just not.
It's only been out 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, of course it's going to go down after one show.
Exactly.
Not many shows go up, except The Walking Dead.
It went down 200,000 viewers, But it's like,
No.
of course. So
Is that 200,000 initial views or recorded? Because they can even track that stuff too.
I couldn't tell you. All I know is it went.
Mm.
That was the difference between the 2 episodes. But
That's good. That's a big difference. But I just feel
yes.
like this stuff that they're bringing out, it's like, where's your test audiences that say this stuff is like, oh, we're really gonna do something good here. We're gonna bring Green Lantern and the Strange Adventures and High School Super High. This is really gonna show people that we're back on track here. I don't know.
I think it's the Ellen cartoon that's really gonna do it. But maybe that's just me.
Well, one other Jimmy, did you see mention of that animated show that I mentioned to you earlier this week, or might have been last week? It's called Genlock.
Oh, that's the
It's Michael B. Jordan.
No, I didn't look into that really.
I can't remember if that was coming, what format that was coming out on, but that'll be its second season, and it was jumping platforms. It's an animated show. It's under Michael B. Jordan's imprint, I believe, and I guess it's next week actually. The first issue of the print comic is coming out. So next Wednesday, there's the first issue of the print comic, and it's already been digital released for a while. You can buy them online; they're only $1 each, which is pretty cheap, I think. So I was wondering if they mentioned that one. It might be something to look out for next week. I don't think it's really going to have a big following, but might see a slight.
I thought they were going to name everything that they were doing, but they didn't. They just did a few.
Oh, okay.
They did the highlights. So of course, like Sesame Street and like a Sesame Street talk show type things, like stupid things like that were announced. So, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, let's talk about the next thing that was confirmed by HBO.
Okay.
Adam Strange, or not Adam Strange. It's going to be a Strange Adventures TV show. Was the other one? So for Adam Strange, we talked about this a few weeks ago, right? Because this was rumored. It was rumored that there was some Strange Adventure stuff going on. So for Adam Strange, there's a few books to be looking for. He first appears in DC Comics Showcase 17. Then he appears in 18 and 19, and his logo first appears on Showcase 19. So I don't know. Those are all key books, and they have been for some time.
There's a
17,
cool Adam Strange Neil Adams book that is pretty nice cover. Collectors really like it. Nico, you know which one I'm talking about? I can't think of
and that's
what
Strange
it is.
Adventures 217.
Is that what it is?
I think so, and that's the first time that Showcase 17 is reprinted.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I am pretty sure that's a Neil Adams cover.
Yeah.
Or it's Infantino. It looks Neil Adams though, so I don't know. And then the other book we had was his first solo series, which was in 1990. So I mean, those are all like the Strange Adventure books that I'm pretty sure are going to be affected by this news. But I mean, I don't know.
We told you what, a month ago?
Yeah, I forgot we did talk about that. It was specifically about Adam Strange, though, not.
Well, they said there was going to be a Strange Adventures TV show, and as always, when you go down with Strange Adventures, you have to go with that. So
yeah,
I would assume.
Yeah, remember they trademarked it? That was I don't know, right before New York Comic Con. We thought the announcement was coming at New York Comic Con.
Yeah. So they announced that it's going to be called. It's going to cost $15 a month starting next May. I probably won't get it because my streaming rate is very low, so I'm not sure that it would be worth it. But you guys going to invest in it? What are you guys going to invest in if you're going to get one of these new deals? Did you go with the Disney Plus, or are you thinking about HBO Max, or too much out there already?
I think I think Amazon Prime might be out the door, and I think Netflix. I might just try to piggyback off someone and put my cash into the other ones.
So you are going to look at getting both of them?
I think so. At least HBO seems like it makes a lot more sense than the other ones. But HBO, I think, is the right one to go for.
Gotcha. I don't know. I think Disney Plus, if you're a Star Wars guy or if you have kids, Disney Plus is where it's at. Also, the Mandalorian trailer looked pretty badass, I thought. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yep, it was good. Let's move.
Well, yeah. So the other things from HBO Max is that launch date's May 2020, and it's $14.99 a month.
Okay.
So kind of pricey, but who knows where we're gonna go with that. Yeah, I like that logo. I mean, I just think we should just look at that for a second. We didn't talk about this last week, but I think it is important. There was a secret variant for the Amazing Mary Jane #1. We talked about this book title last week because it's like, why did Marvel even make this book? Why is this a title? Where is this story going? I don't really know. But if you look on the right of the image, that was the secret variant that retailers were reporting they got it at 1 in 10. The book's selling for about $10. But all the other secret variants they've done have been for books that have ended up being significant.
I think the ratio is a lot closer to 1 to 4.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just think it's a book that you might want to pick up because it was what Venom 9 was, or Venom 7 they did it, and the most recent one that they did was the Captain Marvel 8, the first appearance of the arc. So I don't know. I think it's worth it if you go to your comic book store and you see any, they might be worth picking up for cover. But I didn't even know about it until earlier today. So yeah. You guys want to talk about the Wednesday Warrior Guide for October 30th?
For October 30th.
Yeah.
What do we got up first? We probably got some type of Marvel book. Oh.
Well, you have to. So the first one we have is Venom 19, the 1 in 25 Tony Moore variant. This book was selling for $30 to $40, but it's now down closer to 30. I think it's a solid
nice cover.
So.
Yeah, it's a good cover. Tony Moore did some great stuff on that. Some great art on that Remender series. So it was interesting they brought him back to do another cover. But this one, there's some store variants or a shared store variant. So being that this is only 1 in 25, it really screwed the amount of copies out there for this one. I think tomorrow you're going to see it. It might hover around ratio. But there's still stuff going on with Dylan in this book, but still nothing concrete. So.
Well, there were spoilers did come out, and I don't really know if they're significant or if they matter. But
seems like he's got his own powers, is what this issue kind of revealed, or anti-venom or something like that.
Yeah, book leaked. It's a snooze. On to the Joker.
Yes, the next one is DC Black Label's The Joker Killer Smile #1. And that's by Jeff Lemire and Andre Sorrentino. That's just a book I'm looking forward to. I don't know why it's on the list, but I'm definitely picking it up tomorrow. Are you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. It's just something I look forward to, so I put it on the list. What else?
I got PC copies.
The other one was Fantastic Four Grand Design. This is in the Grand Design line that Marvel's been launching. The last one was really popular. The Ed Piskar one. This one's by Tom Scioli, whose artwork resembles Jack Kirby. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And, of course, it has an Ed Piskar cover B, which is a homage cover to Dark Knight 2, right, or something? One of the Dark Knight books.
Yes.
Frank Miller cover.
Yep.
So I'm going to be picking up those just because I like them. But,
what is that Grand Design about? They did the X-Men one, too.
I think it's just like an origin story of... it just tells you everything that's going on with the whole thing. I'm pretty sure, or something along those lines.
Oh, well, it's everything that's going on with the whole thing. Oh, that makes sense.
It's like a 2-part series that explains the whole history of the characters. I think.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
I could be wrong, but
that was a better explanation.
I think that's my understanding of what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The other book that comes out is Dead Man Logan 12. Which is, leaks have come out for this one. So it's the first appearance of the Avengers of the Wasteland, which sounds stupid. Like, why would anybody care about that? You should, because they're doing a new miniseries after this called Avengers of the Wasteland, and this is a new team makeup. If you see there's a female Thor, and that's not Jane Foster, that's actually Daniel Cage, who became Thor in Dead Man Logan 11, which is a book that's now selling for about $12. So if you could find the last issue of this series. It's worth buying. And I think number 12 is worth buying too because they seem to be really pushing these characters, at least this team makeup.
I assume that's a limited series.
Avengers of the Wasteland, I believe so. It is. I mean, so is Dead Man Logan, and we'll see what happens with this whole series. But again, Danielle Cage's first appearance is the Pulse number 13, and she is Luke Cage. And
13
Jessica
is
Jones.
when she's actually in the story, but I believe it's 10 or 11. She's actually on the cover, but she's not in the story. So I don't know. Both of them are like, those books are really hard to find because they're a standalone like Alias Luke Cage story, which is decent, but it's also kind of, there's some other stuff in it. It's not really like a full comic story.
Well, it's a Mayhew cover, and the baby's on the cover.
Yeah, but I'm saying 2 issues before the baby's on the cover, but not in the story. And also, it's baby stuff. I honestly thought, I'm not sure why they never. Well, the series didn't continue on long enough, but I think she would have shown up in the Alias series if they would have had a few more seasons of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
The other book that comes out this week that you wanted to talk about was what, Basket of Heads #1, the Joe Hill Black Label book?
Yeah, Basket Full of Heads. We talked about this month and a half back 2 months when they announced that they were doing this Joe Hill's own label called Hill House under a DC brand. Seems like I'm interested in this series. It's about a woman who has her boyfriend or husband kidnapped by people, and then she's going out to try and find them, and she's got this axe that cuts off people's heads in one hit, and then they're still able to talk after they're decapitated. Sounds kind of interesting. So she's trying to like interrogate them after she cuts their heads off. But it's got the A cover is pretty cool, and it's got this B Middleton cover, which is pretty nice as well. So I'm not sure where it'll go, but I think it's Joe Hill, who usually has pretty interesting stories. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a book I'm really looking forward to, but who knows?
What do you got against Joe Hill?
I just don't care for him.
Just because of the way he looks, or?
Sure. The other book that comes out this week that you want to talk about was what, Red Goblin, Red Death. I don't know why this book's important, so I want to hear about that.
It's important because Red Goblin's back on the radar again after being one of the biggest flameouts in recent Marvel history. They really destroyed the character, I would say. And we got news this week that Normie will be coming back with Dylan in their own series called Web of Venom, The Good Son, I believe.
So Normie is the Red Goblin, right?
Yeah, he goes by Goblin Child. Red Goblin is still Norman Osborn, I think.
It's fucking Poltergeist.
Okay. And then Dylan Brock, we're not sure what's up with him. He might have a symbiote. I don't know. So that's fun.
Marvel is insane.
Yeah. So I'm trying to sell my Spider-Man 797s and 98s that I still was never able to get rid of.
But what does this mean for Venom 7? Anything?
Man, this thing is, they have drug out this Dylan Brock stuff for. So what came out this week? 19. That's issue number 7. So we're going on close to a year and a half, and we don't even know what the deal is with Dylan Brock.
That's Donny Cates
longest slow play in history. Yeah, and he's not even going to resolve it, I don't think. He's going over to Thor. He's probably got a couple more issues in the bag, but I mean, do you think he's just going to spring it on the very last issue that he writes or something, maybe? I don't know.
Classic.
Yeah.
Why did you want to talk about this book, Roku?
I thought there was a lot of books coming out this week, and I've tried to stay away from the independent stuff because we've pretty much talked that it's not a good long-term play for anything. They're real flash in the pan anymore. But there were a couple books I thought looked good. Roku, this is written by Jeff Lemire, I believe, right, Jimmy?
This is written by Jeff Lemire?
I think so.
No, it says Colin Bunn on the cover.
Oh, Colin Bunn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, Colin Bunn. I'm thinking of the one Valiant series that I did
Bloodshot.
read. Yeah, Bloodshot Reborn was a really good series. So, I mean, Colin Bunn's, we know he's a good writer and might be worth a read if you're just, I wouldn't spec on anything Valiant anymore. It seems like even all those high ratio variants, they don't do anything anymore. So, Valiant's pretty much stay away in terms of value. Pick it up if you want to read it. A couple other books that may be decent reads. Woven Heart from Mad Cave. They seem to be putting out some decent reads. Again, not any long-term spec. And then
well, yeah, no, I saw people were pushing this book, but I just find it interesting. Nobody seems to be talking about the advanced reader's copy that was sent to retailers about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Everybody got one copy of this, so this would be the first appearance, I would assume, and nobody seems to be talking about this. So people seem to be jumping on variants and stuff, but I would assume that this would be the book people would want.
There was also some other other preview given out at one point by the creator, I believe. Came out a while back as well. Yeah, there's tons of store variants. I would not buy one store variant for that book. I mean, that's sinking your money into not good spec.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's weird. It's weird stuff.
Yeah.
The other big news that came out this week. So that's it for Wednesday Warrior Read stuff. Unless is there other books that I missed?
No, I think that's good.
You good, Nico?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The other news that came out this week was some spoilers came out for Captain Marvel 12. Marvel seems to be wanting stores to order a bunch of more copies before final order cutoff, so they released the full issue to retailers. So I have a few spoilers for you in that regards. We weren't really sure who this evil Captain Marvel was. I think we all pretty much assumed she was going to be Star, but it turns out she's actually Carol Danvers. And I don't really think there's any spec there. But in the book, they brought back another character called Fox Supreme, or at least that's what it's referred to. Now, in the Marvel Universe, there has never been a character called Vox Supreme. There is that character Vox, though, that showed up in Death of the Inhumans. And the character does kind of look like this. However, it's green instead of red. So that's just something to think about. And,
wait, what's green? You're saying Vox in Death of Inhumans is green?
The arrow things that are on his chest are green in the Captain Marvel 12. And then his face is also green. Yeah.
Oh, this image is from Death of Inhumans.
Correct. I'm not gonna.
Gotcha.
I don't think I don't think it's okay to spoil books before they come out or the week of release or when like stores can still order them. But when the books are like dollar books or you can't really order them anymore, I think it's fair game.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's okay to show panels, and that's why I didn't take any screenshots of the Captain Marvel 12 book.
Because that doesn't come out for another couple weeks.
Yeah, stores can still order them. So I just didn't. I mean, it is what it is. You guys can, but I just didn't want to do that. So the first appearance of Vox is Death of the Inhumans 1, and the Vox are like a totally different subhuman race, and they're like in evolution, they're after the Inhumans. So I'm not sure if it's this character or if it's somebody from this race of superhumans, the Vox superhumans. It's Fox Supreme. So I just think Death of the Inhumans 1 is a good book to be buying just based on that. But that's just my personal opinion. Any thoughts on that?
I wouldn't touch any of those books. I looked up today.
Yeah, I picked up a Captain. Yeah, I picked up a Captain Marvel 8 for fucking $30, the 1 in 50 variant or 1 in whatever the hell it is variant. That was about as much as I'll spend on any of that shit.
The first appearance of Star.
Yeah, whatever the ratio is, I grabbed one for $30.
Well, that book's probably going to go down before the Star #1 comes out next year.
Yeah, she's got her own series coming though.
So, and once that series comes out, that book will start appreciating again her first appearance, Captain Marvel 8.
Yep.
The 1 in 25 variant. But until then, I don't really think it's going to be doing anything. I love how you're coughing.
Yeah, I'm sick.
I love it. I mean,
sorry, dude.
It's okay. Do it next time. I want it more direct into the mic. If you can, if you don't mind.
I will. I'll get it right here.
The other book we wanted to talk about a little bit was X-Men Fantastic Four #1. This book comes out in January.
Yeah, we were pretty good about that one, huh?
Well, we did talk about this for, I think, ad nauseum. We've kind of talked about how Marvel's eventually going to be using this one character. So it looks like it's all based around Franklin Richards. So, you want to say anything about this, Nico? No? Okay.
I mean, it's written by, I don't fucking know.
By Chip Zdarsky. I mean, and it seems like they're bringing Franklin Richards back. Now, he has been referred to as the most powerful mutant in the Marvel, not mutant. No, are they mutants? He's been referred to as the most powerful.
Yeah, mutant.
Yeah, he's been the most powerful mutant in the Marvel Universe. And that's what Galactus said in History of the Marvel Universe in September when an issue came out. So that's what Galactus said in the universe. So I don't know what they're going to do with this character, but I do think that it's going to be big. And that is what Nico's been saying for some time, that he thinks that this character is going to be big. There's been a few iterations of him in the Marvel Universe, but I think the go-ahead for going forward is the Fantastic Four Annual 6, his very first appearance. And I'll keep walking slow so people can jump in.
First appearance of Annihilus as well. I mean, yeah, we've talked about this book many times. I don't know. Is it still time to jump on, or is it getting too out of control now?
Okay, so
I think you can still find it cheap, but I don't know. I haven't really found one in a while, and
you cannot.
I've been biting on the ones I bring it to shows. So who knows?
Okay, so you can find low grade copies cheap as fuck. You cannot find a high grade copy for less than like 5 to 10K online. Like, it's crazy, dude.
You're talking like a 9.0 or something higher graded?
9.4? Yeah, like 9.6s I think are like 10K online. You can probably get in at like an 8.0 for like $700 maybe. I'd say that's about right. But when you start to get into the high grade, where the census really starts to, kind of like crescendo, whatever the fucking right word is, it's a wrap. The numbers are just explosive. So what I would try to do is get in at the bottom and press your way up.
All right. Sounds good.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're giant-sized books. People will tend to, thankfully, undergrade them in the wild. If they're
and they kind of curl.
Okay.
They kind of curl when you find them. The other book,
sorry, go.
The other book that I want to talk about that comes out in January is Weapon Plus World War. I don't know, what's that for? What's IB?
Yeah, man.
I don't know, World War something.
World War IV, man.
In this book, they introduce a totally new man thing. So, I mean, it's a very unutilized character. It's Marvel's Swamp Thing character, even though he was introduced before Swamp Thing. So, I'm not really sure
read something
where that's going to go, but I think that might be a good book to at least be looking into.
I read something. There was like a unpublished story online about not a printed story that has been online about this character or something. I don't know much about it, but this is the only imagery that's been released so far, I believe. Is this Kyle Hutt's cover? I don't know.
And,
Nothing ever really happened with that Weapon XXX. Remember that?
What's Weapon XXX? What's that? Is Blind Adam on the podcast?
It was they had that Weapon Plus book with the Wolverine and the it had introduced a new character. His name was Weapon XXX because it was Weapon X, Wolverine, and then it was Weapon XXX. And it got hot for like a week. It was selling like for $8, and then nobody talks about it anymore. So I expect this to do the same thing.
Well, I mean, unless it shows up again, which it might. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there aren't any other Man Thing comics, so I mean, if it does well,
no,
it might go. They might be like,
Man
let's
Thing's
try
been,
this, but who knows?
And Man-Thing's been in the rumor mill for some MCU love, so we'll see.
Don't underestimate the
Good luck with
pettiness
that.
of Kevin Feige.
I don't know, man. After Swamp Thing and how that clearly didn't act or didn't go out well, I don't see how Marvel could possibly do a Man-Thing TV show or anything with it. But
again, don't underestimate the pettiness of Kevin Feige. That dude literally is in the business of being like, "Oh, DC is going to do Justice League. Sure, we'll destroy everything." You know what I mean? Like,
so he wants to do a Man-Thing to show him he do it.
I
way
would
better than
not
Swamp
be
Thing.
surprised if he drops Man-Thing, invests a truckload of money in it, and literally supplants Swamp Thing as like Man-Thing as the character, as opposed to Swamp Thing, which will be returned out like how it was back in the day. But
Swamp Thing show was decent though.
Yeah, absolutely was. If
they
you see those Savage Tales first appearances,
Swamp Thing was only decent
pick 'em
because
up.
let's be real. Swamp Thing was only decent because Bernie Wrightson was involved and the artwork was great. When he was off, it went trash. And when Alan Moore took it over, aside from that, nobody really cares about the books. Like, there's no books outside of those 2 runs of Swamp Thing that matter and don't suck. And I have original art from like the Scott Snyder one, so I'm pretty sure I can say that all the other ones are trash, including the Scott Snyder one.
Yeah, could be.
Hard to argue with that.
So who knows? The other book that's announced for January, because I guess Marvel's announcing a bunch of books, is the Immortal Hulk. No, what's this? Yeah, this is the Immortal Hulk Spider-Man something. What is this book?
It's called Great Power, something like that. With Great Power or something like that. That's Stan Lee.
Man, you gotta just turn your mic off when you do that.
Well,
I don't know how
that
I
one
can,
sounded.
I don't know how I
that
can
one
subtly
sound-
do like indicate it enough. I need you to just turn your mic off when you got a cough like that, bud. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Sounded like he's eating comics and not instead of reading them.
Oh,
I think that might be the problem.
I've been ill. You saw how bad I was last week. This is better.
Yeah. Oh, this is better. Yeah, so they're going to have this Hulk Spider-Man iteration, and they've done it before in Web of Spider-Man number 70, I believe, Jimmy.
Yeah.
You can see the panels here.
Yeah, I just took the panels because I thought they were cool.
That's
like,
pretty
it's
cool.
Just a cool character. And yeah, so its first appearance is Web of Spider-Man 70. And this is a book that's been creeping up in the last few months. I think like maybe somebody did a YouTube video on it or something. I'm not quite sure, but it is a book that has been getting a lot of attention recently.
Yeah,
so
I
looked it up, and it had been selling well for a while. I remember seeing something about it online, but I think it was probably just people like, oh, isn't this a cool guy? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Marvel's gonna just like redo all of its 90s and 80s tropes, probably picking up the Cosmic Spider-Man or whatever the fuck his name was. Remember that one?
I thought you were gonna say Night Watch.
Yeah, where Spider-Man had the cosmic, or the Captain Universe, whatever the fuck powers. Remember that one?
No.
Cosmic Spider-Man.
No. I'm sure there is one.
You mean Captain Planet?
Yeah, whatever. No.
You're talking like
I'm talking about remember the Hulk cover?
Kind of?
No, remember the Hulk cover where he punches the Hulk into space? He's got the Captain Universe powers.
Oh, Captain Universe from the Micronauts?
Mm,
yeah, Micronauts number 8, Captain Universe. Cool.
The point is, that's the next little bit I suspect we'll see.
Yeah, I think somebody's gonna have to go back and dig through and see all the mashups they've done, because they are just pulling. So
trope
I mean,
after trope.
They've done they've made all the characters that are current into some type of Carnage character with the Absolute Carnage. So
this isn't the first time they brought this character back, though. I think that's really important to say as well.
In the main universe, though, in 616,
Hulked Out Heroes. What universe was that?
Probably some spin-off thing. Because if
Hulked
you go
Out
back
Heroes
and look,
was a spin-off of the Hulk, of like what was going on in the Hulk book at the time, and the Hulk book took place in the 616. No.
Hulk is from 616. Yes.
Yeah. So there was a main Hulk story, and then it spun out into various miniseries, and in that, Spider-Man shows up as the Hulk as well. Also, Deadpool shows up as the Hulk, and so does Thor. and various other characters.
Yeah, remember when Weapon X came out, and there was a couple books that are out of continuity that were old. Like there was an Exiles book where there was a Wolverine Hulk in it. There was a couple other ones. So they're just gonna keep doing this stuff. I mean, it's fine. It gets people to pick up the books, I guess. I just don't understand why they can't just make good stories like they used to. Maybe the stories weren't good before. I don't know. I seem to enjoy them.
Maybe the House of Ideas has run out of ideas.
Yeah, I got like a decade ago.
Yeah. What's going on with Nico time though? Are you okay, Coffee McGee?
Yeah. Well, here's kind of like some of the auctions I was looking at. I wanted to run through a smorgasbord of the post Baltimore Comic Con books, right? Books that I saw selling at Baltimore that I then see the following week in live auctions that are bringing home comparatively less money.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? First and foremost, Fantastic Four #5, a 3-0 sold in the live auction for $2,650. That is about $1,000 a point book. Routinely in Baltimore, I watched I don't know, half a dozen copies move off of various walls, and literally within 7 days, you see a live auction where somebody snags one for a lesser amount, but really the seller's getting jammed up because he's losing about 12-15% on eBay fees.
Oof.
Next book.
That's a hit.
Same deal with Fantastic Four #4, 3.5 selling for $1,500. We were seeing this book move for much higher figures in Baltimore. The following week, a steal to be had on eBay. Keep it rolling. X-Men 1 CGC 3.5. Selling for $4,150. Now, this one was closer to the price tag that we saw the book moving for in Baltimore. I watched a 3.5 sell for $5K. But still,
do you think people are going there to buy slabs and try and flip them on eBay?
No. I think people are going and spending top dollar, and there's at these shows, right?
Yeah.
And then
I could believe
people
that.
are slabbing these books online, and there's so many auctions the week following these two big cons, right? That you're getting all of the on-site books on at one time, and it's like the worst time to list books, and people are stealing books on eBay.
Also, could be people trying to recoup some cash for stuff that they didn't sell, and they're just
absolutely.
like, I thought I was going to sell it. I'll just put it up now and get rid of it for whatever price I can get.
Yeah. Or they overspend in Baltimore on other things. I mean, there's any number of explanations, but the point is, I think that all of these books were pretty decent deals. Not the least of which is Detective 168.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the cover of that one too, because it's a good book.
Jimmy.
It's a cool cover.
Bang. A book that's near and dear to my heart.
It is? Is that on one of your grails?
Yeah, it's Detective Comics 168. First appearance of Red Hood, in case you were curious.
Yeah, I passed on a real nice copy once for dirt cheap, and it's stung ever since, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. That's a tough book to find. I mean, you don't see it in the wild.
Yeah, so this
ever.
Sale I don't think is by any stretch of the imagination like some sort of like great deal or anything other than at market. What I think is interesting about this book is that since the Joker film, we've seen more and more copies of this specific Joker book up for auction on eBay and on the CGC forums and and elsewhere than I've seen in the last 12 to 18 months. The Joker film has really brought this specific book out of the woodwork. I think if you're a diehard Joker fan, this is the number one book. Some people would suggest that it's Batman 11, the playing card cover, but I think it's really Detective 168. At least following The Killing Joke, this book really, with the black cover, kind of rose to like the number one Joker book on the market. But
a little bit different price points there.
CGC
between The Killing Joke and this book.
Well, no, I mean it's subsequent, right? Like subsequent to The Killing Joke, like after the release of that book, this book incrementally became like the go-to Joker book. Nevertheless, CGC 1.0 copy sold for $3,450. Now, on to thanks, Jimmy. The Thorn Tales from the Lantern. This is a super interesting book for me. We talked a little bit about the Bone news, both in the weekend update and in weeks past. I think the Netflix news is just a real big deal for 90s comic fans, Bone being one of the last major properties left to get licensed. So this book, of course, is important because it captures and serializes the newspaper comic strips featuring Bone, and is the first Bone appearance in a comic book format. I wasn't sure that CGC would even slab something that was this size. I was clearly wrong. Jimmy's making a face at me like, fuck, everybody knows that. Duh. There's like 4 copies on the fucking census, asshole. Nobody fucking knows that. But
everybody knew that. I told you that. You asked it last week, and I said it last week.
Well, you were correct. But again, there's you. You know that.
I said,
like a fucking,
did we check the census? Is there any on the census? And you said,
savant.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you fucking Rain Man weirdo. But anyway, the auction for this was fucking huge. CGC 9.0, $4,794.
Doesn't seem like it's enough.
How much do you think it should go for?
Higher.
It's funny when you see like real adamant Bone fans talk about it. They're like, why do people pay that much for this? I want one, but I don't want to pay that much for it. I think a lot of people think Bone #1 is the Grail book, and they've always taken that as the first comic book appearance of Bone, and not this issue. But this is obviously a lot. They're both really hard books to find.
This book just reprints other books, right?
Comic strips from a university newspaper.
Right.
Right. So I mean, the comic strips are the first appearance. So
yeah, it would be like just like a Superman comic strip reprinted in a comic book trade paperback format and saying, "Oh, it's the first appearance." So
it's an unbelievable result. The Patsy Walker CGC 3.5 sold for $1,000. I think somebody stole that book.
1,000? Okay.
This is a very ugly copy.
Yeah, it's like all torn up on the bottom.
It doesn't present well for a 3.5. I'll be honest about that.
I looked at one of these at a show, and it was in way better shape than this. And I think he wanted about 1,000 for it raw. I mean, this was only 2 years ago. I probably should have bought it. Looking at this sale.
Yeah, this book is trash the way it looks.
Yeah, this is terrible presenting. How did it get? I guess it's only on the cover, right? That's
maybe
torn.
CGC owed this guy money or something.
Maybe they
he was
graded it like.
This doesn't make sense.
Maybe they graded it like that Hulk 1 that they had at the Baltimore show, the big blow up of it, and everybody was making fun of it. I don't know if you guys saw that. No? Okay, cool.
I just saw the slab yourself thing. But yeah. I slapped myself.
Great news.
Well, I thought that was great, Nico. I really like
great news.
I like when you follow the auctions and everything you have to say about them. Usually.
Yeah.
The other news that came out. The other news that came out this week was that The Woods is actually happening. I mean, it was optioned a few months back, and now it seems that a pilot has been written and is being worked on. So that went up on Twitter, and then some of the sites picked it up. So these books have started to move. The book on the left is the 1 in 25 variant, and the book on the right is the 1 in 10 variant. So if
I didn't even know there was variants for that book. I've only ever seen this cover.
I mean, they're not really doing anything. I mean, The Woods 1 seems to be selling for about $10, but if you could find any of these books, they're well worth picking up if anything ends up happening with this pilot that's been written. I'm sure we'll hear news about it. So,
I think we're seeing we're getting to the super fatigue phase. Remember when books used to at least go for 20? These independents when they would get optioned, you can't even get $10 for a book.
They get optioned before they come out.
Yeah.
Undiscovered country.
Yeah. Definitely didn't buy any of those. That's the next Outcast, but for sure.
Outcast sold for $10 though. So I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a good time where you could make money on Outcast. So. The other news that came out this week was Planet of the Nerds from Ahoy Comics has apparently been acquired by Paramount something. Not Paramount Pictures, Paramount, another company. Which is weird, but
Paramount Vodka.
This is the first title from Ahoy Comics that's been optioned, so I don't know what that means. The company started last year, so I think that's another book.
I think that means that Jesus book where he comes back. That one's going to be next.
Coming.
Yeah.
I doubt it. And then the Soulfire and Fathom are apparently also in production, right?
Fathom.
Yeah. So are there any Soulfire books that are worth any money? Because there's like one Fathom book that's worth money.
There's a lot of hard to find variants for these books, but man, I cannot. If you showed me one of them, I could not tell you what issue it is and what, because they all look the same. I mean, even when Michael Turner's not doing the art on these, you look at them, and I mean, even though there's a Soulfire or a Fathom J. Scott Campbell cover, it looks like Campbell, but it's like cover F. And if you see like cover 1 through A through E, you're like, I don't know, this one could be Turner too. It's just amazing how much art that guy did in the short time span.
So this is like the Turner-verse, it's being called?
Okay.
So I don't know. It's interesting.
Michael Turner passed.
Yeah, long time ago.
Guy's an incredible artist, and I'm like you guys. I legitimately have no idea how to tell one variant cover from the next. I mean, like
there is like the number 1A cover. I did see a few months back, 6 months ago, sold for like $200 or $250 and 9.8, and I was like, really? That book like seems very common. But if you actually do try and find it online, or you could probably find it on eBay, no problem. But if you try and find it out in the wild, good luck, and try and remember what heck cover you're looking for. So I don't know. There's probably some money to be made here. I don't know.
I mean, they're dollar books or 25-cent books even. So
yeah,
if you know what books to buy, I mean, I don't. So
yeah, there's no question about it that there's cash to be made, but I don't know how many buyers there are.
The first appearances of these books seem to be doing well, but again, I don't know what they are. So
I mean, I don't know how many buyers there are. Do you think
I think there's previews for both of them, preview issues.
Yeah. Do you think any of these projects are actually going to come to fruition?
I mean, there's so many projects are optioned that and almost none of them nothing ever happens with them. So who knows?
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Just keeps getting flooded, so the hit rate keeps going down because more stuff. How many things we talk about this week?
Grass Kings is happening for sure.
Yeah,
I've been.
Oh yeah,
for sure that's happening. So
sweet.
Oh yeah, I'm not making that up.
Yeah, Jimmy's not making that up.
No. So
Yeah,
I've
he's
been
got
told
boxes
that.
and boxes of pieces of evidence that it's absolutely going to happen.
I think we're at 4 boxes. So,
Demonstrative evidence.
Those are scripts. Wouldn't you call that at this point then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this is
I saw
news.
Sleepy John in that outfit right there.
But well, he's the one who thinks that
That's
this
my
is
Halloween
important.
picture.
Batwoman and Nancy Drew have been renewed. Now, the Batwoman one, okay, fine. But why would I care about Nancy Drew, John?
Because it was in the same
I too
news
wonder.
article.
Oh.
Okay,
Makes
and
sense.
Nancy Drew is from the tied into the Archie universe or something. I have no clue.
No, I mean that's important.
This CW stuff, I don't know. Batwoman I had kind of high hopes for, but because I think her costume looks really sweet, but I just
Have the price tags moved on any of the books?
Only
Batwoman, I mean, her
only when it got announced.
I think was
I mean,
and
way
her
back when, right? I remember like what, a year ago or something. There were 3 different first appearances, the 2 cameo-ish appearances, and then the first appearance with her on the cover. Those books were moving and they sold well.
There's about 5 books that you could say are first appearance, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You had like week 52, number 7 and 11. You had Shadow of the Bat 80. There's a Detective Comics. There's Batman 568, maybe something like that.
Yeah, my
There's a ton of Caitlin Kane issues and Batwoman issues.
the other news that I don't care about that John seems to be really keen on.
Oh.
Is the Superman and Lois TV series.
I'm so excited for that.
Everybody was asking about this.
All these CW shows are moving to HBO Max, and they're all going to be available on the streaming service. So if you want to binge them and get into them, it will be great. I sent you the live stream to watch, so I guess I was the only one who watched it. It was very boring, and I hated it. But I watched it, and
no one has ever asked for this show to happen.
I did one time.
Oh, what?
But
why do they keep making these? I mean, people do romance about like Smallville. That was like a cult classic, I would say. You know what show that nobody ever talks about that was actually a good comic book show in terms of CW was iZombie. It went for 5 seasons.
I thought the show you were going to bring up was Lois and Clark.
Hey, you know what's amazing is the people that troll me in the live chat are now lusting after the one female viewer that we have in the live chat. It's amazing.
Yeah, the one, it says,
it's like the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I really like the cute guy in the middle, except he looks kind of tired.
Yeah. Sick and tired.
Man.
I'll pretend I'm the guy in the middle.
I think it's good that we got some people chatting, though. It shows that they really like the show. And some interesting names.
That's why we have so many thumbs up. You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't care about this.
They Google me, they go deep into my background. It's beautiful. I feel like I have super fans.
Yeah, I would agree. You definitely get the most comments. So
I agree. Yeah, I think it's important.
Well, was that it?
Guys, don't be weird in the chat, please. The other last thing I think we're talking about
is some pictures, dude.
Marvel was. I'm posting pictures right now. Okay, we're talking right now about my pictures. Hello, tune in. We're doing a podcast. There were Marvel is allegedly doing some casting. There's been some casting rumors, so I'm assuming that this is for the Masters of Kung Fu movie, but who knows? So one of them was Ghostmaker, and he's an alias for Giorgio Savchenko. Right? That sounds about right. He first appeared in Masters of Kung Fu 110 from 1982. So I think these are all really cheap books that are worth picking up if you can find them for under $10, because I think there's a lot of moving room in them if these characters are.
Is there any Master of Kung Fu books that cost more than $1 besides like?
I don't think so. I don't think I just
number 16, the first one in the series.
Okay, so as long as we know, these are books to look for. Another one is Razor Fist, who first appeared in 1975 as Master of Kung Fu 29, and he first appeared as William Young. I'm not sure if that's going to be the incarnation of that they use, but this is the first appearance of him, so that would be pretty cool. And I guess he has blades on his fists. So
yeah, that character looks terrible.
Yeah, no, he looks terrible, but I mean, it also looks pretty cheesy, and I'd be into it. I mean, Fists of Fury, I'm into it.
The second appearance of that guy, or the second iteration, it's right around that Ghostmaker issue. There's like a couple books, like right over 100 that they have first appearances in them. So if you're looking for that Ghostmaker, look for the dude with the swords on his hands. It's a second iteration of the character.
The other one that's been rumored is Moving Shadow. His first appearance is Master of Kung Fu #1 from the Max series. Now, he is also Fu Manchu's son, as is the Master of Kung Fu, Shang-Chi. So I think
so
this
it's his
character
brother.
has... Well, when Shang-Chi failed to be what Fu Manchu wanted, he had Moving Shadow to kind of be like his new son to take over the throne. So
did he
I think
disown Shang-Chi?
Yeah, I thought so. That's at least what I read in this stuff. So I think that this is the character that might actually show up in the movie and might actually have like a bigger role than some of these other ones. So I don't know what the print run was on these Max books. I think they're relatively low, but it's
I like that.
something to be looking
I like
for.
that one. I had never seen that book either. Like, and I tried to find it at some online retailers, and nobody really had it. I don't think it's probably in people's like warehouses that they're like, nobody will ever want these books.
I really like the Max comics. I think they're great reads, but I don't think there's a lot of spec there. But if you, most of them are pretty great reads, especially the ones from 2002 to 2004. Just for reference.
Until they bring Punisher back out and they add Barracuda. Yeah.
Whatever. No. The other character is Tiger Claw, and his first appearance is Giant Size Master of Kung Fu #4.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, these are all like goofy characters. Like, well, not this one, but these are all really goofy characters. And if these characters are cast, I'd be down. I'd be down for something like that. But yeah.
Probably be like some kind of weird team, like Suicide Squad, and then they don't last.
Their names are so dumb. Like Ghostmaker, Razor Fist, Moving Shadow, Tiger Claw. So I don't get it, but I'm into it.
Ghostmaker is the grandfather of Babymaker.
Okay, I'm listening.
Makes sense. Next.
That's all I got.
Oh, you're a funny guy. I think that's all we had, though. Am I wrong in thinking that's all I had for the PowerPoint? Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
No, for the love of God, let the two morons in the live chat get a fucking room and close down the podcast. For all of our normal viewers, thank you. We appreciate your participation, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday at 9:30, our regular time.
Yep.
Thanks again for apparently that's a regular time. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned to comicbookSpeculation.com for all of your comic speculation needs. Bye now.
See ya.